A very good morning to all the respected parents, students. My name is Swati Kamisetti, and on the behalf of Symbiosis School of Photography, I would like to welcome you all to the induction program batch 2023 of day 3. We have our first chief guest for the day, Guru Charan, a software engineer by profession, photographer by passion. He's based in Bangalore. He documents life, and it has always been his forte. His photography stories are related to everyday lives. He has been practicing photography for almost 9 years. For now, he loves to capture emotions. He chases light, especially dawn and dusk, monsoons. He believes that the strength of photograph always lies in the human connections associated to it.
Hi everyone, my name is Guru Charan. As the intro has happened, I have been shooting photography from past 8.5 years. To me, the journey started when it's in back in 2005 itself. I was That was the first time I have been pulled to films actually, where I used to watch a lot of films back from 2005, like a lot of English classics and a lot of world cinema and all. So each and every time I used to see the film, I was pretty much I got very much interested in making the film, in how in writing the scripts for the film, in writing dialogues for the films or short stories like that. I was pulled into it. So gradually, what happened during the time was I wanted to make a film. These are the some of the films which I really love. So what happened during that phase was I started making short films, small short films and all. Back in 2010, it started, and after that, I was working. I worked as an assistant director for one of my friends, and later as a light boy or just an assistant cameraman for my cousin for his wedding shoots in 2010. And during that time, I used to click his profile pictures, and I was pretty much getting familiar with the camera. And I wanted to try photography by myself, just to help me, which will help me to direct more short films and which will help me to assist my director for short films. So I brought one Sony Handycam and I started shooting the pictures. That was how the journey has started. Because films have been the primary inspiration for me to get into photography. So after that, with the handy camera, I started shooting what I can see around. So like this kind of monkey or the mother. So this one I started shooting, and this picture has taught me what patience really is. Okay, because I had to wait for around 1 hour for the kid monkey, baby monkey, to look at me. It was pretty far, and it was shot with Sony Cybershot, pretty in 2012 June. So that was one of my pictures which I got. I was very happy after 1 hour just to make sure that the baby monkey was staring at me. So it happened eventually that I started practicing more and more with respect to animals, because that was my first love when I started photography. So shooting animals and documenting life around the animals was one of my favorite things. And as the time went by, I started learning this thing actually. I started learning because to me it was very difficult to find any other animal around my home, around my place, other than monkeys, squirrels, parrots, and crows. So since I was pretty much interested in shooting animals, I was more into shooting monkeys and or documenting the life. And I developed a lot of patience, and I developed a lot of concentration and decisive movement. Actually means when you can shoot an image, when you can click the shutter like that, with the patience I got to know, means the moment where you can tap the shutter. So it was one of these pictures which it really helped. And later, as the time went by, I used to go to Bannerghatta Zoo Park, which is in Bangalore, and I started shooting the animals which are there, just to practice more patience, just to practice the timing of it. Like that, I used to go each and every week, because I had to travel around 50 kilometers, because in every weekend, because it was very far from my home. So I had to travel there, wait there for the entire day, and then come back at evening. So like that, it used to happen. And these are some of the this is one of the shot which I got during that time. And as I practiced it more and more, I began to understand the concept of patience and the importance of patience with respect to photography. Okay, and I began to love photography more and more. So eventually, I got married in 2012, and my wife was carrying in 2013. And doctors were telling that there was something called what do you say, circumvallate placenta. Okay, means the baby doesn't really have blood flow, which to the from the mom, it doesn't really have much blood flow to the mom. So when the doctors told me that, I was shooting in Wayanad, when doctors called me and told me that diagnosis from the scans. So when it happened, I was pretty much nervous. I couldn't know what to do. So after that, what happened was, I was so immersed, and I was shooting a set of monkeys, and I waited for 2 hours immersed with those thoughts of what doctor told, and I was just trying to shoot. And then what happened was, after 2 hours, a small monkey couple was there. I was shooting, and they were hugging in the fog. So what happened after that was, they just separated and they just showed me the baby which they really having. This is the photo which I shot that day. And when I saw the baby after 2.5 hours of shooting this monkey couple, I felt a lot of hope that everything gonna be all right. That was one of my serious interactions with photography, where I can really be the healing power of photography that people call, the healing power of art that people call. So that was my first time when I felt that art can heal people's heart. So I wanted to do photography more strictly, and I started attending photo walks from that day. From the moment I came to Bangalore, there was one group called Bangalore Photo Walk, and as Bangalore Photo Walk, I joined. I started visiting the places around my city each and every week. So I began to understand the documenting street life. That was my first interactions with street people, actually. Before that, I didn't have much interactions with respect to people and all. I used to shoot animals more. So that was my first interaction with respect to people, and I began to. And this was one of the photos which I shot. It was shot in April. Okay, this is the only photo of street I have shot before editing this photo was. It was shot with a very big tele lens, which you call it as at 400 or something, because I was too afraid to go near to the people. So as I attended photo walks and all, I began to be more close to people, and I began to understand how they really interact, how they really behave. So this is one of the photos which I got during those photo walks. And there will be something called photo of the walk. And after the end of photo walk, there will be something called photo of the walk, which will be decided on the best picture which you got from the photo walk from the group. So out of 15 photo walks I attended, I won the photo of the walk for 11 times. And 11 times I won the photo of the walk. And after that, when success comes so easily, it means that you are doing it in the wrong way. That is what I really feel it, when success comes so easily. So I thought, okay, fine, something is being wrong. Attending, maybe I am too much comfortable in attending these photo walks. Let me try shooting alone. So the first time I ventured alone, I went to KR Market in Bangalore, and I got this shot. Okay, this shot became pretty viral, and it made me so arrogant. Means I started thinking that I'm a professional photographer, and I started uploading my context everywhere. That yes, I can shoot weddings also. I can take a lot of I can take a lot of assignments. I am no famous like that. I got such kind of a head weight actually. So what happened because of that was, what happened because of that was, uh, first week what happened was, I was beaten. I was I fell down in a pothole, and people assembled, and somebody stole my tripod. And the next week itself, what happened was, my hard disk, which has photos until that time what were there, it fell down and it crashed completely, and I lost all the photos. And after that, my camera fell down. And after that, what happened was, the small images which I have shot, right? The images which I have shot, which I have edited, I got lost because motherboard of my hard disk got corrupted, and I lost every entire work of mine until now. Until that time, I lost the entire work of mine. And that time, what happened was, that was a night where I literally hugged my camera, and was crying till 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. And I felt that there was something seriously wrong with my attitude. That was a time which I really learned that this is not the attitude that is necessary for the art. Art means you should have to be grounded, and you should have to treat photography and camera as your friend. So what happened next day was, I went again to Lalbagh, where the squirrels will be there, and I shot a squirrel and I shot a butterfly, and I combined both the photos just to show that I found a friend called camera. Here, this is the photo which I shot. This is like a composite, because butterfly I have added later. It looks like I have found a friend called camera. I found a friend is the caption I have put, and this is the story actually behind that, because I wanted to make a camera as my best friend, rather than an arrogant person which I am. I wanted to make it as a best friend and be grounded to it. So I shot this photo photograph and I started documenting street more intently, more properly. I started documenting the street. But life is not as simple as you think. So one fine day, what happened was I was beaten in the street. I was beaten by a drunkard guy in the street, and I felt so demotivated because that was the first time somebody literally manhandled me in the street by a stranger. And then I came to home and I sat somewhere and I began to think, what is this? How do I have night? How does it happen? So I didn't touch camera for next. I didn't touch. I didn't go to street from the next 3 months, and I started shooting inside my home only. So after 3 months, I began to realize that okay, fine, at max, what will happen? He will beat me again. It's okay, fine. We have already got beaten. So let me go to the place and try again. So that was one of the leap of faith which I took that day. And when I went to that street again, I got this beautiful shot at the same place where I was beaten. I got this beautiful shot in Shivaji Nagar. Trust me, I've been to Shivaji Nagar yearly. I will go to Shivaji Nagar around 30 times or something like that. And not even once I saw these kids again from that day. It was like a divine coincidence or something which you call as serendipity or something. But it was one of the most beautiful moments which gave me belief that yes, you too can shoot anywhere. It is like a belief actually. A beautiful street, any street around you will have a beautiful picture waiting for it to get clicked. That was a belief which I got that day, and I started exploring my city pretty properly, going into pretty narrow lanes, going into places where people don't really dare to go like that. I was going into very sensitive areas. I was beaten, I was manhandled, I was collared, I was taken to in front of police authorities. The police chased me. Everything happened, but only thing that really kept me going is it's okay, fine, everything gonna be okay. That belief that everything gonna be okay in the end. So I began to shoot photographs like these in pretty much nook and corner of the places. And I began to understand that there is more beautiful thing in a photograph rather than the rules which people will say. Okay, there are a lot of rules which people will say, like you have to click like this, you have to do like this, you have to shoot like this. No, it is not like that. The more beautiful thing in a photograph is the human connection that is associated with it. So I began to take my childhood along with me wherever I was going, and I began to see my childhood in front of me, and I began to shoot that frames, like these kind of frames I began to shoot, where you can just try to associate your childhood, and you will be associating with this kind of moments. These moments are in your childhood will be a memory for you. So after that, what happened was when I was trying to shoot these things, there are some what you call conventional photographers. Actually, there are people who are pretty conventional in documenting life. So I was getting baddest from people that street photography has to be shot at 35 mm, or street photography has to shot at 20 mm or 18 mm like that. But you are shooting at 85 mm, which is wrong, and the background is pretty blurred and all like that. People were trying to put rules on it, so I was getting a lot of brickbats and all. But whenever people were telling the rules or something like that, I began to question actually, because for me art is something which really doesn't have any rules. I began to shoot art is something which doesn't really have any rules in the first place. So whenever you are in your academics or in your place or anywhere, try to understand the basics first, because the basics are probably the most important things when it comes to art. Okay, like lighting, composition, and framing, and the rule of thirds, ISO, shutter speed. These are some of the basic things which are there for any photograph. And apart from that, if somebody is telling you rules or something like that, try to break them. Okay, I normally in all my life in photography, I began to the wild animals, or I shoot for animals and all. I loved it, and I began to replicate in the street also, like these things. So I began. These are some of the things where I started keeping. I started sleeping on the road, and I was trying to take these kind of shots. It means you should be grounded to take photos, should be more grounded to take photos. You should have to you should have to question people who are telling the rules in photography, and you should have to believe that art is infinite. Art is infinite. It is not confined to a single place. It is not confined to a single dimension or something like that. Photography is infinite, and and there are a lot of moments actually around your place. Believe that any good place will have a lot of photos. Any small market, you need not to have to travel to place different places like Taj Mahal, Varanasi, or anywhere. You do not have to travel. The photography is around you only. You just have to see it and you just have to click them. And as I really learned photography, I began to understand that light, framing, and ambience, lighting is probably one of the most important thing. If you have lighting around your place, try to steady the light, try to observe that place. Even if you don't really try to shoot it or something like that, just observe how light is creating shadows across that place. Observe how light is creating magic from where the hair is lit, from where the face is lit, from where there is a light which is falling. What kind of background is there? Try to study a place first, sit there and try to observe that place like a meditation or something like that. I began to do that only in my in my photography journey. I go to a place 2 hours before and I start observing from where the light can fall, from where the ambience will be there, and try to understand and respect the seasons around you. There will be beautiful seasons like summer, winter, rain, and autumn. So try to see the seasons, feel the ambience, mix that ambience with that light. That is what I really learned in my photography journey. In our and again, people will tell a lot of things, things and all. We in our classes also we will be taught a lot of basics about photography. Okay, but understand that those basics are must. Those academics and which you get in the class are probably the best things, and try to learn them and try to practice them. The most important thing in photography is to practice. Keep practicing each and every moment. Keep practicing each and every shot. And when they say about lighting, take different kinds of lighting. Imagine what kind of lighting you can get: morning light, afternoon light, evening light. Why you can't shoot in harsh light? How you can try to shoot in harsh light? And in winter, what kind of light you will get? In rainy season, after monsoons, what kind of light you will get? How sunsets colors will vary? Observe those kind of things. And apart from all that, apart from all these things, these are all basics. Apart from all these things, what makes a photograph what beautiful is the human connection associated with the photograph. Means if you stare at a photograph, it should have to touch your heart. You should have to make sure that you make sure that you it would create restlessness in your heart. It could calm your heart, it could create restlessness, and it can calm. It is such kind of photographs which really stand out in time. Make sure to create such kind of photographs. They take basics properly, but don't forget to add human connection into those photographs using those basics. And this is sometimes these are very simple basics, like a small kid holding a cat. And these kind of things are happening in everyone's childhood. Your childhood is the key for your photography. Take leave from your childhood and try to create beautiful photographs from it. Make sure those photographs will touch you. Make sure that photographs will make you remember your childhood. That is what I can say. There are a lot of basics. There is light here, there is an ambience here, there is evening light, there is some colors in the sky, and there is bokeh also. But the most important thing in this photograph is the human connection inside it. So I really began to understand the human connection over the past 8 years. And what happened was, one fine day, my hand was fractured. And I couldn't shoot. So I just wanted to prove to myself that photography is more or less a part of injury to our injury. Photography is more or less for a soul, not for the body. So with my right hand fractured, I began to shoot with my left hand, yeah, and I practiced it for 2 weeks, and I started shooting straight again. And this photograph was shot with my one hand only, because it was my right hand got fractured, and I shot this photograph with my left hand only during that time. And I wanted to tell people who are shooting, who are going into photography, that this field demands fitness. This field demands a lot of physical fitness actually. So try to keep your habits properly, try to keep your sleeping patterns properly, and try because it will give you a lot of sleepless nights. Sometimes it will give you a lot of sleepless nights. You have to wake up till 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. like that, and you have to wake up at 4 a.m. and start shooting sunrises and all. So keep your habits properly, keep your fitness properly. Try shooting, try getting your physical fitness more and more. And again, in this era of Instagram and social media, it is very easy to get what you call it as to get upset that you didn't get any result, to get upset that you didn't get any result. Photography is a love affair with failure. You need to fail a lot to get a good photograph. You would, and another thing which I really wanted to tell here is, when you are trying to feel that you are trying to fail in shooting people and all, shift your shift what you call it, what you are shooting, and shift start shooting toys, or start shooting animals, start shooting weddings, anything which is fine, which really makes you think fresh. Because if you stop shooting just because you are not getting a good photograph, you will end up stop shooting each and every time you get a failure. And trust me, out of 1,000 shots which I click in every shoot, I just process 1 or 2 photographs and keep those other photographs aside. It is like that many shots I would have failed in getting a perfect shot. So understand that failure is okay. Understand that you can fail in photography, and understand that it is okay to fail and start, but it is not okay to stop. So practice whatever you can. I've been told that there are a lot of genres in photography, but I don't really believe in any genres. Photography is something which really doesn't have genres. Start shooting whatever you love, whatever you find in front, start shooting it, because you don't know in which genre you will fall in love. Some people may fall in love with photojournalism, some people may fall in love with marriages, some people may fall in love with landscapes. There is nothing called you have to shoot a certain way of, you have to take certain shoots only. Okay, I when I am really low, or when I don't really get shots, I'll immediately change the subjects which I am trying to shoot, and I shoot animals, I shoot toys, and I shoot this kind of my daughter also. I shoot, this is my daughter. So the joy of getting the good photograph after so much of emotional agony, emotional trauma, failures and all, is so beautiful. So you need to look for that joy. So shoot everything, and shoot when you are feeling low, shoot when you are getting failed, shoot more when you are failing. That's what I can say, because that is when you will just try to shoot more properly. And again, other thing is, if I really try to explain you that there are no genres in photography, I will show you this photograph actually here. This may be a wedding photograph if these people are bride and groom. This will be a documentation photograph if I have shot it from the far. This will be a what you call it as landscape photograph or something like that, because of the light and thing which is associated with it. This may be a rescue photograph if these people who are holding them as a wildlife, for wildlife animals. This will be a wildlife photograph. So there are no genres in photography. Just try to understand that there are no walls. Art is something which is pretty infinite. Shoot whatever you can. So that is what I really learned in my journey. And as I went through photography and all, I really believed that ethics really matter in photography. When you really grow up, when you really start shooting pictures, I really urge people to follow the ethics and morals in the art. Art is infinite, that I can understand, but only thing is it really has a certain set of morals. Here what happened was, when I went to All Souls Day, it is like people will come to worship the graveyards of their passed away ones, loved ones. So they will go there, they will light candles, and they will put lights and all, and they will try to worship them. But what happened was, when I was trying to document that life around them, I felt that it is unethical to document such kind of things, because some person is mourning there, some person is crying there. So you cannot really go in front and try to keep camera just in front of their face, and you cannot really try to document that thing. So what you have to do is, you just have to understand human limits. When some person says no, I don't want to photograph, just stop asking them. When there are people like poverty, themes like poverty, themes like physical handicapedness, beggars around the place around, they are really pretty much embarrassed when you just point a camera around that place. Respect their emotions, listen to their stories first, respect to their emotions, and stop shooting them. So on that day, I deleted all the photographs which I shot around this All Souls Day, and I kept only this photograph, because it really represented some sort of longing or weight. So I kept only this, and I deleted all other photographs. So try to respect that part and start shooting. Try to respect human privacy and start shooting. And when you are trying to shoot photographs, interact with people more. Interact with people more. Be like a kid when you are trying to shoot. Think like a kid. Have interact kids like a kid. Be having share the joy of having the childhood, and be like that. And when you are trying to shoot wise people or old people like that, be a wise listener. Start listening more. Start trying to understand more. This is one of the photographs which I shot during my right hand got fractured. So start listening to people more. Start knowing their story. Always when you are trying to interact with people, try to open up about your story also, so they will feel more comfortable. Each and every in India or in here, one of the most important thing is to open up your past to people, so they will be more comfortable in sharing. So I really mental health is probably one of the most important things. So when some person is sharing their past, some person is sharing their story, some person is sharing their pain, listen to that pretty intently. The gift of artist is to listen to that pain intently. That is what makes you an artist first. That is what makes you a photographer first. Even in your class or something like that, before you are trying to question, before you are trying to judge or something like that, try to listen to what the other person is saying. That is what I can really say. In street, in class, in anywhere, listening is probably one of the basic learnings when it really comes to photography first. And after that only your shots, your thoughts, everything will come out. So listen properly and listen intently to the people. Listen to their stories. You don't really know what life is unless you don't really listen to the stories of many people. Normally, I will take people for my when I'm riding bike. I'll some person asks for a lift. I'll hitchhike them and I will start knowing their story more. That helps me to understand different aspects of life. That is how I really learn about shooting or documenting life properly. So what happened really was, this is like one of the small kids which I found in the street. Okay, this is another aspect which I am telling, the other aspect of art. So what really happened was, this is the kid called Anima. Okay, this is the kid called Anima. I started documenting her life since 2014, and after that also I again went in 2015 to shoot her, and again she was wearing the same dress here. This girl, the elder girl, she was wearing the same dress. Then I began to ask the people that why this girl is wearing the same dress here, and they just told me about their poverty and all. So we ran a fund collection drive and we gave her some amount so she can buy some good clothes. Okay, and after that what happened was, we used to see her in her usual getup. This was again in 2015 shot. So we used to see her in usual getup and we began to understand their life closely. We began to document this their life closely. So but one fine day we used to celebrate Holi also with them. Each and every Holi we will go to those kids and we will celebrate Holi also again with them. But what happened was, one fine day after this photograph or something like that, her mom, this kid's mom, this is the little kid, these two kids mom passed away actually. So I was really shattered with this thing. I was really shattered with this thing and we wanted to help her out. So we started collecting a photo walk and we started organizing some amount around 26,000 we collected, and many NGOs came forward to get books. Many people came forward to give toys. There have been a lot of response for that, and it really helped. In photography, the most important thing in life is the human element. Start being a human first. You can shoot, you can be a you can shoot, you can become a beautiful photographer, but unless you are not a proper human, you are not eligible as an artist. Okay, since you people are youngsters and many people won't teach this human element of photography actually. So I really want people to feel the pain, to feel the people whom you are documenting life, to know about people whom you are documenting life, to know about their past, to know about their presence, and to know about their tough times. Because even in these COVID situations, I really get a lot of calls from people about how we really have to about their lives. They really they call and try to share their pain. If you are willing to help, you can really help them. If you are not willing to help, just listen to them. That is more than enough. So try to become more human and try to start being more human. And another thing which I really want to tell here is, start giving prints of the people whom you shot. 5 rupees print, 6 rupees print, small prints, anything which you have shot. You visit that place again and give the photograph print to them. So they will understand that yes, this person is remembering us more. This person is valuing us more, and it helps them to bond with the people more properly, more intently. And your photograph is might be a cure for somebody's depression. Your photograph might be a cure for somebody's mental health. Your photograph might inspire people to start taking photography again, which they have stopped some 2 3 years back. So try to understand that there is nothing more powerful than being an artist. There is nothing more powerful than being a person who is trying to create art, because you people are there to heal people's tough times, to make people laugh, to make people feel, because feeling is one of the most human aspects animals, most lively aspects, things cannot feel. Only humans or animals can feel it. So you are there to make people live. So try to understand the value of an artist. Being a photographer is like an essence. So be like a photographer and start following ethics. Listen more properly, listen more intently, learn more, try to practice more, understand that art doesn't have any boundaries, and inspire people. That is what I really wanted to say to this young generation which is there in front of me. And this is what I can say: life without art is probably the most stupid thing. So try to shoot more, and good luck for your new year. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much for giving us inspiring and giving us a perfect blend between how photograph should have life and what it means to be an artist. And it's just not like whatever people think it is actually. And also giving us an understanding of how your love of photography is indeed a great thing, even though you have a different life altogether with respect to your career. Does anybody have any questions?
Hi, sir. I'm Aryan, sir. And I just wanted to let you know that I love you so much and you have my respect and your work is amazing. And I love the stories you tell behind every photo you take.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, welcome. That's all. I'm done. I don't have any questions.
Thank you.
Shaurya, you raised your hand.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah. Yes,
Yes,
you're on.
yes.
Sir, my question was, whenever we shoot street, sometimes our moment get ruined due to our camera size. Whenever we are carrying a camera, the person gets conscious. They start to ask questions like, where will it get published, or what will you do with it? So how to deal with that?
See, there are two things here. The first thing is um, uh, being yourself as a local to that place. When you are spending more time, because when, see, I'll tell you one thing here. I'll start shooting from the good light will start shooting at around 5:30. Example. So I'll be at that place at 3:45, and I'll be at a single place. So before that day, I'll explore that area and find out that okay, fine, these are the places where I'll get light. So tomorrow I'll spend at this place. So I'll go there 2 hours early and be like a local, and will be interacting with people as a local only. And after half an hour or 40 minutes, they themselves will be immersed in their work. They won't be conscious of your presence, and they just think that you are a person who came here to document life. Let him do what you want. So after that part, I will be more allowed as a local to shoot those people and to shoot those pictures and to shoot. Sometimes people will really ask me what you are doing with this. Then I tell them that this is for my project called life. This is just for my documentation purpose. That's it. It is not for a media. It is not for anything. But this is for a documentation life. And when it is good or something like that, I'll upload in some place and I can give you a print also if it comes good. So I'll take their WhatsApp number, and on that day itself, when the photograph is good, I'll just send an image to them. That's it. And it really helps me to form a bond. And next time you go, nobody really asks you anything. They just know that who you are because you have given them a print or you have given them a WhatsApp picture. So they will be more comfortable with your presence. So the first time may be tough at a place, but second, third time onwards, it really helps you. It really helps you to be there and to not to get more conscious of your presence. They also won't be more conscious of your presence, and it helps you to click more candid shots. That is what I will do.
Okay,
It
sir. Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah, spend time with them, be as a local, spend time with them, learn some local language around that place. And even if you are if some one or once, if you are spending time more, first time or first 1 hour or something like that will be more problematic because people eyes will be on you. But if you spend more than an hour at a place, then they will be immersed in their work and nobody will ask you anything, and after that you keep shooting your candid shots. I normally please be there at that place pretty early, like 1 hour before, 1.5 hour before, and try knowing about the essence of that place.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Shivam Deshpande.
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Yes, sir. My name is Shyam Deshpande,
Yeah.
and my question was, your images contain a lot of strong emotions,
Yes.
be it
Thank you.
animals, be it people. So, how did you learn in your early days how to capture the emotions in any image?
Uh-huh. Like I said, my first image which I shot with an emotion is the monkey and mother which is smiling. This is the image actually. Okay, this helped me to understand why this image really worked. Okay, normally I'll upload a photograph, and when the response is good, I'll just understand why it really worked actually. So I will literally see my image and find out, okay, fine, here there is a lot of human touch in it, here there is a lot of connection in it. So I had a very different theme. I had at that time, what I was shooting is, every time I shoot, person was laughing, person was smiling. So my entire early photographs depends on the laugh or smile itself, because of the decisive moment. When I go to the kids, they generally laugh more, so I'll try to capture them more. And I began to understand that, yes, fine, laugh is one of the human emotions which we really get in touch with that. So with this photograph, I understood that, okay, fine, smile and laugh are one of the things. So from there, I began to explore all the emotions like chaos and madness, anger, depression, crying, and all those things helped me to understand that these are all abstract forms, and these are normal emotions which our face can convey. But there are a lot of other emotions our face cannot convey, like hunger. Your face cannot convey hunger, but you can really try to show hunger. So I began to understand, okay, fine, how do you really depict hunger? So there was one photograph where a cat was looking at a person who was in a mutton stall, and it was just trying to look at him, and it was crying, just shouting. So that photograph depicted me hunger. And another photograph was there which really depicted me the strength of being a mom. Means there was a one Muslim woman whom I shot. She was taking refuge in Kali temple because her kid was getting drenched in heavy rain. Beyond religion or something, she started showing the mother love of a mother, power of being a mom. So that photograph or moment helped me to understand the power of a mom, how mother will be, how strong a mother's bond will be. So these kind of things you cannot really show in photo, in face or something like that. But until you explore and start observing your surroundings, you will come to understand. Okay, there was
Yes.
one photograph where there is a Om and cross, and three Muslim women will be walking beside. So it really helped me to find out the more powerful emotion called oneness. Means there is humanity is beyond walls. Everyone is not separated by any walls, and all people are equal before God. So that kind of oneness I began to understand. It is like be on a place where there are different varieties of life, and start observing each and every life. So in the, if you start observing each and every life, you will find that each and every person is struggling with some unknown pain or unknown anger or unknown agony. So when you understand those things, you will start shooting that part. So be there and wide variety of life, interact with wide variety of lives. You will understand different emotions. You will understand to depict different emotions in that way. That is what I can say. That is how I really learned. It is like a very slow process. It never, even now also I am learning. Now also in this COVID situation, I am stuck in four walls, and I began to understand how what being in closed walls, being in four walls, being what freedom really is. So such kind of things I am really exploring. Your life across the years will teach you how you can really shoot pictures. Start, sure, because the key is no one will become an expert within a day or two. It is very slow process. Learning is very slow process, and start embracing that learning part more. Thank you.
Thank, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Shreyas Maske.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Uh, Sir, I wanted to ask you, yeah, what is the difference between photography then and photography now? And
Uh,
what is your favorite picture?
See, my favorite picture is Kevin Carter's image, not mine, not the pictures which I shot, but from the experts from the past which I shot. It was Kevin Carter's image where a kid will be there who was dying, and a vulture will be there which was beside that kid. And Kevin
The
Carter
Pulitzer
shot that.
picture.
Yeah, you would have remembered that image actually in the internet
Yeah.
if you see African kid and the vulture. So that was one of my gut wrenching pictures. And after a few days, Kevin Carter committed suicide because people accused him that he didn't help that kid. But in the end, the world came to know about the hunger in Africa after that picture only. And many NGOs, many organizations came forward to help Africa after that picture only. So that was one of my favorite pictures, and that was my one of the powerful pictures which whenever I see it, I just feel a lot of chills in my body, a lot of goosebumps actually. So that kind of picture is that. And before that, photography was pretty limited to certain audience only, certain people only. And although it inspired many, it never really went into masses. Means nobody really believed that they can also shoot pictures. But right now everybody is shooting the pictures. Okay, everybody is shooting the pictures, but the only and it has cameras have become a lot of ease actually. Come back to olden days and coming back to now. No, I am just a mobile click away from getting a beautiful shot. Previously it used to require a lot of setup and a lot of expenditure and a lot of traveling and all. And other thing is, in previous years or somewhere, when somebody is shooting picture, they will try to think that okay, he might be a press person or he might be like that. But right now when you are taking a mobile and you are shooting picture, people are used to your presence, people are used to, okay fine, it is okay to take photograph, they are comfortable to pose, they are not that much insecure also, the people whom you are trying to shoot. And other, yeah, these are the positive aspects. But on the negative aspect, the what I can really say is the use of photography is getting spoiled actually, because in previous days most of the photography was related to photojournalism side and trying to show more powerful elements, war, empire, countries destruction, or Soviet, or there are a lot of things which happened in the past like Vietnam War, Soviet Union destruction, Afghan war, those kind of things. Photography was more useful to portray that kind of things, and weddings and other things in common man's life. But right now that it has been diluted for many selfish needs. That's what I can say. Many selfish needs, it has become diluted. Means just to earn money, people are misusing the human values. Just to earn money, people are misusing the power of art. So it's okay to earn money or something like that, but in ethical ways. But not really like showing, not really like flying drones on Taj Mahal or somewhere. You have to respect the rules. Not really flying drones on places where it is really banned, not trying to document people or poor people taking money or something like that, staging such kind of pictures just to gather attention, not really trying to make people pet wild animals and then they can show photographs. Not so, such kind of things happen which are unethical, but they wanted to get attention, they wanted to get fame. So such kind of things are happening this time. So there are goods and there are bads because photography has become so viral. But only thing is, the good pictures really stand even though how much photography can change. Afghan Girl was shot 40 years back when there was no Facebook, no Instagram, or nothing was there. But it really makes people, still people will remember that photograph, Afghan Girl from Steve McCurry, or Kevin Carter's Image, or Raghurai's Bhopal Gas Tragedy series. So these kind of things they remember because good photograph always lives. No matter how much photography changes, beautiful photographs will stand the test of time. They won't change at all, they won't change. So the only thing which is constant across all this journey is beautiful photographs. They really live and they keep living. That's it. That's what I can say.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Anyone else wants to ask or say anything? Harshit Wadhwa?
Yes, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah. Sir, first of all, good morning. And
Yeah.
I just love your work and you do a brilliant street photography. So I just wanted to ask that as soon as people face camera, so the same amount of emotions they used to show before they see the camera, they are not able to show that. They become shy and cautious because what you are doing, why you are
Yes.
clicking photos. So how do you convince them to show the same emotions and like
See,
how?
the thing is, yeah, I understood. The thing is, I don't really convince people. One thing is, I will be with them. If you see the body of work which I really shot, 1 week, one photo only, I'll just try to shoot because at a place I'll be there for around 3 hours. At a place I'll spend for 3 hours. Even if they don't want photographs, I'll just move to different any other different place. That's it. But the thing is, if they are okay for my presence being there, I'll spend time with them, quality time, and let observe them more closely, more intently their life. And I'll try to shoot their life. After 1 hour, they will be busy. That's what I'm saying. And again, when somebody is feeling shy, I'll capture that emotion also. I'll capture that emotion also when they are feeling shy because there are a lot of times where I see a kid feeling shy and I shot that photograph. I shot that
Okay.
photograph and it really has a beautiful emotion. like a kid when he is feeling shy, or old woman when she is feeling shy, it really adds more color to the image. When I really try to show that image to the old woman, other people around will be trying to say that she is looking like a heroine, she is looking like a proper drama artist, like that they will make fun. And this will help to create a more lively environment, and I'll keep shooting more. So it is like, even if you miss a moment, don't regret, but be there. Even if you miss a moment, also it is fine. Just try to have it, because there are a lot of moments which I really miss. But again, there one or two good moments which you really get between these things, like candid shots, like when people are trying to just trying to pull the leg of that woman, just pull the leg of that kid. So those kind of things I really observe. Okay, I really observe and I really try to shoot them. So it is like, even if you miss a moment, be there and try to spend time. And when people are starting to interact after getting a shot or something, after showing a photograph, try more attentive towards that candid conversations and try to shoot. At that time you will get more beautiful shots.
If there are no more questions, yeah. So thank you, Guru Charan, and so it was fantastic session, by the way. It was
Thank you, sir.
very inspiring, for all these students who are yet to start their journey in the visual art area, whether it is photography or anything else. It basically, when somebody talks about his or her journey and with emotions and what he has gone through, it is very inspiring. I think I don't remember who mentioned this initially in the question answer round, where I think Aaron spoke about who's dancing right now.
Yeah.
Basically, that with each photo you have a story to tell. That is basically what photographer or a filmmaker lives like, because every photo, every shot, every frame has a story, and it's not just the story what you capture, it's also your story.
Yeah, thank
So
you.
which is basically that's the truth, and that is the true essence of photography and of a life of an artist, because
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
that's so important. And actually, people can write articles and books about techniques, but the story of each photograph and each frame is so important.
Thank you,
And
sir. Yes.
this was so much important. I feel the point that you made. This was like highlight of the whole 3 days of. This is the third day of induction, and for me this was like highlight, because when somebody talks about that, it really becomes very important that why am I doing what am I doing.
Thank you,
So,
sir.
so thank you very much for your time and for this inspiring talk. You know, um, it'll be pleasure for us to have you on board, taking more space, giving more talks to our students, and
Thank you, sir. Sure, sir.
some time later on as well.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Good luck, sir. Good luck with the batch of
Thank
students.
you very much. Yeah. Anybody, if we have any question, please go ahead. Thank you, Aaron, for your clap. And anyone else who has any question, because uh, these are really good people, and that's what matters end of the day. So anyone who has any question, please go ahead. If of course, if Ionic,
Ayanik Datta, do you have anything to say?
Ionic, okay. You can leave it in the chat if you want to ask anything, Ionic. Probably there is some disturbance.
Yes, sir.
Um, Otherwise, anybody else who has any question?
Yeah,
Nothing.
Shreyas?
Oh yeah, yes, please.
Yeah. So one more question.
Yeah, go
Uh,
ahead.
how do you think the editing, matlab, how do you think the editing manipulates the photo? Like today, there are like heavy editings and which doesn't look good. So
See, like I said, art is infinite. It editing or anything is fine. You are not really, we are not really someone who can really judge somebody's photograph. We just have to see and appreciate if it is connecting to us, or just leave if it is not connecting to us. If maybe he has, people have edited it because they felt it is connected to them, they, because to their life it would, that kind of edit would have connected. There is nothing, to me there is nothing called heavy edit or there is nothing called light edit, because a lot of times I see many heavy edits working, they really get connected to me. Okay, so to me art is really infinite. At certain point, maybe people, when their life changes, their editing flow also changes. Maybe when they try to see things differently, or when somebody is trying to battle some very dark themes in life like depression, their edits will be pretty heavy, pretty dark, pretty gloomy. And when they really have some happy moments in life, their edits will be of more yellow tones, more warmth. Instead of blues, their yellows will come. So it is really like how you really are trying to see that photo, what you are really trying to convey from that photo. If you are really trying to convey pretty moody themes, it is fine. Maybe their edits might be, for you their edits might be too strong, but for them their edits might be okay. I'm okay for any photo manipulation, anything. But only thing where I'm not okay is people trying not to accept that it is manipulated. When you say it is manipulated, yes, it is manipulated, we have to agree. That is which separates. Okay, to me in photography there are only two things. One is photojournalism, and another is rest of the genres. Photojournalism demands highest ethics, where you really have to shoot what you are trying to see without any influence of your presence there, and without any manipulation or editing, because you're trying to show truth. And rest of the other things are infinite, you can really try to do anything in that. In any other thing, you can really try to add people, you can really try to remove people, you can try to remove objects, anything you can do. But you have to accept, okay fine, I have done this, so what? So like that you can accept, it is fine. Editing should have to complement your photograph. That is and all is like old age adage, editing should be there, editing must be there, and you really need to think infinitely. It helps you think more creatively. Okay, it helps you think more creatively, I feel. So if somebody is saying that you should not really edit a pictures, don't listen to them, but start editing your pictures as much as you can, because that is how you really learn the different aspects of blacks, whites, light, shadows, highlights, everything, color toning, everything. So try to edit a photograph as much as you want and as much as you can. That's what I can say.
Thank you, sir.
So Ionic has a question here.
Yeah,
He's asking how to make a documentary film of children who are born in brothels. Like I think he has a an idea on that. So if he wants to do something of that sort, how
who
should
are
he?
who are living in,
Who are
pardon?
who are born in brothels?
Oh, brothels.
Kids. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, fine. So, see, I visited brothels when I'm trying to shoot pictures. So, what I can really try to say here is, first, each and everything will have a storyboard concept actually. Okay, each and everything will have some storyboard concept. Like, first should be inception. What you really wanted to show, their struggle, their pain, like that. So, there should be something called first happy. First, to me, if I am trying to shoot this kind of a shot or something like that, then for the first thing will be a start. Okay, I really don't want to purity for a child is really an abuse, and it really takes away the human rights for that child. So be highly ethical in that, because I have seen a lot of famous photographer last in 2 years back who shot some person was who shot some bad pictures in a very bad light with these children, and those pictures didn't really go well with the people. So the thing is, there are a lot of things. Okay, brothel people, they will have moms around. So I'll just ask people to start shooting with their moms. To me, this theme is pretty heavy, because if I am there, I'll just try to rescue those kids in the first case. But if I am first case, if I don't really want a kid to be in a brothel living there, and I really want to rescue that woman and kid around. But if the kid is willing to stay with her mom, then the shooting will start. So try to show the things how they are happy with their parent, with their mom, how they are trying to find joy even they are in pretty sad life. So the story will start there, and then conflict will start, like how they're getting abused by other people, how the strangers who are coming there are trying to abuse the kids. And third point will be the liberation, actually, where people are trying to rescue those kids out in a happy environment, and they are getting admitted to the schools and all as normal kids. So my story will end there. So the first thing will be happy, their life in that, and then the conflict, and then the liberation of those kids. So that is how I really wanted to shoot if I am trying to shoot. But with this theme, I really don't want to shoot, but I really want to help those kids to be outside the brothels properly and to live a normal life. If I am there, I don't want to shoot that documentary at all, and I will make the kids to live a normal life. The first case. So the first thing will come there, and I start shooting their normal life. That is what I will do. First, you provide them normal life, and then I'll start shooting their normal life.
I have a point, of course, to just to have my point here. Let's say this was a film, a documentary film, but in case when you do a photo essay or something on the similar topic, would you also try to have a curve like what you said in your storyline?
See, I have done a documentary about water. Okay, some documentary shoot about water. So it really helped me. The first thing will be my photographs will be like, first thing will be the happiness or the lighter side of water, like how oceans, streams, everything from the drone shots and waves and all. And second thing will start again like how water has been wasted and all. And third thing will be how people are more impress more more people in daily activities like bathing or drinking water and all. And then comes summer where a bird will be coming there at a tap and it is trying to drink droplet of water, and some kid is trying to wait at the tap just to seeing the tap like that droplet of water. And fourth thing will be like famine lands because of summer and all. And fifth thing will be like there are a lot of pots which are around a place and all, and a person will be sitting sadly because there is no water for this city and all. And sixth thing will be the rains and the kid drenching in the rains feeling the happiness of water. So it is like that kind of a curve.
Okay.
Because if you are really have a curve, people will understand. You see, you cannot, people will experience the importance of light or importance of darkness only if you have shown the opposite things. You don't really know what light is unless you have made them to experience what darkness is actually. So if you want any story to be hard hitting or something like that, I know here in first in these brothels, I don't really have any curve or anything like that because it is a very dark theme and I don't really shoot that part. If I am trying to shoot, I don't really document, but I will be more human in helping them. I will be more human in helping them. I'll just keep my kit aside and I don't even try to shoot these photographs, and I'll just go and I'll just try to help them more. But if I'm trying to shoot for any other lighter themes like water or hunger or anything, because where the what you call it as social exploitation is not happening. Okay, but there are things like social exploitation is not happening, then I will have a curve. I will start having a curve and then I'll start shooting that part. That's what I'll try to do. Yeah, because this is a very heavy theme which I don't want to shoot, and I really try to help there. That is makes me more human there than being shooting as a photographer or trying to shoot drama. No, I don't want to shoot those kind of.
Before I conclude Guru Charan's work and thank him for it, I really look up to his work because the time I started my photography, it was probably in 2014. I was in my engineering then,
Thank you.
and yeah, I got to know Guru Charan because of my other friends whom I used to go for a photo walk with. And since then, it has always been a thing for me that okay, I see his photos. There's so many things that I learn. I personally do my photo analysis on it, and I ask my friends, okay, is this what it does it mean? I mean, even though there's no story written under his photo or behind what is the story behind what why he has captured it. There's so many stories with for everybody. Like I'll probably have a different story behind why that picture has been clicked, and Sir will have a different story, and all you guys will have a different story. Understanding what each story and probably coming to a common point is always a good thing, and it is really good if you guys like get time to like check out all of these speakers who have like made time to come for your induction. Check out their profiles on IG or
Uh,
websites and
I
see
just
see
have one
what it's
small
like.
point. Can
Yes,
you
sir.
send me the people whom you have invited so I'll also check their work?
Sure, sir.
Because
Sure, sir.
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
send it
thank
to
you.
you. Yeah, you guys should actually check it out. Like this is how where you guys start to look and observe, listen and go through. I mean, observing and listening are like two essential things that you'll have to do when you're doing a course of something of this sort, or like want to pursue something of this sort. It's really really important, and I don't think anybody would deny to this fact. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Guru Charan, sir.
Yeah, thank you for giving me
It
the
was a pleasure
opportunity to
having you
interact
here.
with these people. Thank you very much.